Hi everyone! I hope your weekend was fantastic and that you're ready to get going this week. So today we are still looking at the Unit 4 Part 1 review, only today we are looking at page 2. So today you need page 2 of the Unit 4 Part 1 review, and then pens, markers, colored pencils, whatever you want for corrections. So if you don't have those materials with you right now, will you please pause the video, go fetch all of those items and maybe a glass of water, and then press play again on your video. All right, so number 7, finding the side lengths of the triangle. And is it a right triangle? Explain your reasoning. Well, so this falls on a grid. And we know one of the side lengths because it goes flush on the grid lines. So we can say that this side length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this side length right here is 8 units. Now, we cannot do that same thing on this side, and we cannot do that same thing on this side. Why? Because these are done at a diagonal, and we cannot just count because those are not true units. So right now, we are going to calculate the other side lengths, still using Pythagorean theorem. In order to calculate this side length right here, we are going to drop a line here and put a line right here. And what do you know? We've created another right triangle. So this is 1, 2, 3 units. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So I'm going to use my Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and fill in the numbers for those pieces. Okay. And I am just going to leave this in its square root form. So this guy right here is 45 units, the square root of 45 units. So now I'm going to determine the length of this side right here, doing the same thing. I am going to drop a line here and over here, creating another right triangle. This side is 1, 2, 3 units, and this side is 2 units. So once again, using my Pythagorean theorem, I am going to determine the value of C. Oops. Sometimes I just get to writing so fast. And the same thing that I did with the first one, I'm just going to leave my C value in square root form. So this guy right here is the square root of 13 units. Now I can use both of these to determine whether or not I have a right triangle. Okay, so I'm going to call my side A this guy right here. And this guy here, my side B. And I'm going to see if it gets me my side C. So remember, the square root of anything squared is just going to be the number. So the square root of 13 squared is going to be 13. Okay. And when I add 45 and 13, I get 58. 58 does not equal 64, so no, this is not a right triangle. Okay, and I've got the side lengths for all of them, and I color coded it so you can tell which side length I'm talking about, and then I used all of my numbers to figure out if it's a right triangle. So I've explained my reasoning through the math, and I found the side lengths, so I'm good to go. If you need to, press pause right now so that you can finish copying down the steps of the problem. If you're good to go, then let's move on, and press play if you paused it. Okay, evaluating the expression. So this is just following order of operations. So our PERMDAS. Okay, all right. So we have a root first. We don't know the square root of 2.25, but we do know 225, which is 15. So the square root of that is going to be 1.5. And 3 minus 1.5 is 1.5. Again, if at any time I seem to be going too fast, you can pause the video and then press play when you're ready to go again. So the square root of 0.25, well, the square root of 25 is 5. So this is 0.5. Okay, and then the square root of 0.64 squared, remember, the square root of anything squared is the anything. So adding 0.5 and 0.64, 1.14. All right, cube roots. So the first thing we need to do, if numbers with no neighbors means multiply, so 6 times, and then the cube root of 1,331 is 11. Okay, and then 6 times 11 is 66. And 66 minus 42 is 24. Okay, so again, if I went too fast, you can always pause and then press play when you're ready to move on. Oh, take a break. Set a 3-minute timer and take some breaths. Put your head down for a second. Go grab a water, go to the bathroom, get a snack real quick, and then be ready to come back and finish up. Okay, number 11. A cube-shaped aquarium has a volume of 1,728 cubic inches. What is the width of the aquarium? So a couple things to take note of. First, cube-shaped. That means what? Oh, it's a bunch of squares, 6 of them, and the side lengths are all the same. So volume of a cube, you know, volume for a cube is length times width times height. Okay, so we know the length, the width, and the height are all the same numbers because it's a cube. And we know that the length times the width times the height is 1,728. Well, if they're all the same numbers, that means that all we need is the cube root of 1,728. And when we do that, we get 12. And then don't forget the label. So each side length, the width, the height, each of those is 12 inches. Okay. Using Pythagorean theorem for 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And they have d here, but I know I'm just going to call it B. Okay, and then there's our C. So our A squared is 2.5. We don't know B, that's what we're trying to figure out. And our C value is 6.5. Okay, so 2.5 squared comes out to be 6.25. And notice it says you can use your calculator, don't freak out. And 6.5 squared comes out to be 42.25. To get the B squared by itself, I need to subtract the 6.25 from both sides. Okay, so now I have B squared equals 36. To get the B by itself, I am taking the square root of both sides, leaving me with a B value of 6. Don't forget the label. 6 feet. Again, pause the video if you've gotten behind so that you can finish copying down the steps. All right, on 13, we've got our A value and our B value. These guys connect to make that right angle. And then we'll just call this guy C. So our A value, 3/4 squared. Our B value is 1. Okay, so 3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16. 1 squared is just 1. Okay. And in order to add these together, I'm going to make 1 and give it the common denominator, so that would be 16/16. And then remember, the denominator stays, and then we add the numerators. Okay, now you might be freaking out. Don't freak out, because when we take the square roots, what do you notice? Oh, that's a square number. Oh, that's a square number too. So the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 16 is 4. So C equals 5/4, or 1 1/4, and our label, inches. Don't forget the label. Moving on. Woohoo! Break time! So don't go anywhere. Do 10 jumping jacks or do 5 squats. Pause the video while you're doing either of those. If you're feeling like you need the extra, then do both. That's fine. But get up and do something. At least wave your arms around. Play the video when you're ready to get moving again. On your work, not moving. Okay, so we are determining whether the given side lengths are create a right triangle. So again, we are still using the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember the important piece on here, identify c, and the c value is always the largest number. So, doesn't matter which ones I label A and B. And remember, what I'm trying to do is see if this gives me a true statement. So this gets me a true statement because 841 does equal 841. So yes, this is a right triangle. There's my analysis. Here is my evidence. Okay. All right, on number 15, the biggest number is the 10.4, so that's my C value. Doesn't matter what my A and my B values are. I'm just changing colors just because I feel like it. So here's my C value. So I can do this is A, this is B. You can use your calculator. And yes, this is a right triangle. Again, this work is your evidence, and this is your analysis. All right, last one. The biggest number that you have. Ooh, this is fun. So I'm going to change all of these to denominators of 20. So this would be 4 over 20. And this would be 5 over 20. So this is my largest number. So 3 over 20 squared plus 4 over 20 squared equals 5 over 20 squared. Okay, and remember we apply to both numerator and denominator, so 9 over 400. 16 over 400. 25 over 400. Remember, you keep your denominator and you add your numerators. Ooh, does 25 over 400 equal 25 over 400? Yes! This is a right triangle. Again, this is your analysis. You can't have your analysis without your evidence. So make sure you do that. Alrighty. Last problems, using the distance formula to determine the length between the 2 points. So if you have forgotten the distance formula, just write it down. Ooh, that's really messy. Sorry. So the distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So set 1, x1, y1, set 2, x2, y2. So x2 is 1, x1 is 0, y2 is 4, y1 is 3. So remember, you can just leave it in its square root form. Again, pause the video if you didn't get this and need to write it down. On 18, set 1, x1, y1, set 2, x2, y2. x2 is 0 minus x1 is negative 3. y2 is 3, y1 is 2. Okay, so 0 minus a negative 3, it's a keep, change. So this is 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 squared is 9, 1 squared is 1. So the distance between these 2 points, square root of 10. Last one, x1, y1, x2, y2. The distance is x2 is 5, x1 is 0, y2 is 0, y1 is 10, 5 minus 0 is 5, negative 10 squared, negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. So 25 plus 100 is 125. So 125 is the distance between the 2 points. Yay! All right. So your homework, you have a few problems to work on tonight in Google Classroom listed under Tuesday homework. Okay, don't forget it is due by Wednesday, which is tomorrow at 8 a.m. And make sure you also complete the attendance question by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Don't forget that. The Unit 4 Part 1 assessment is Thursday. Tomorrow, if you have questions about Unit 4 Part 1, if you want to work on more practice problems, well, then join me on a Google Meet between either 9:30 and 10:30 or 1:30 and 2:30. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. If you've got questions about something specific or if you want to work on practice problems, you can meet me then. I will email you with the Google Meet code so that you can just tap on during either of those times, and I'm happy to help. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and please email me if you have further questions. Thanks a lot.